In today's news, the Baronville Siblings, Haricia, Clive, and Jamal Baronville laid to rest.
And the Culture Minister rejects the notion shared by some residents to allow the UK to temporarily take over the BVI.
COVID cases would have risen to 5,000 without the curfew, says the Premier of the Virgin Islands. Businesses speak out, while others are now condemning the government for violating the curfew with the motorcade, while other businesses remain closed.
Recipients of the COVID-19 Economic Stimulus Grant asked to complete mandatory stimulus feedback form.
And in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a protest turned violent as Prime Minister Gonsalves was injured. We have all the details.
You value traditions.
Today,
you value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Friday, August 6th, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And my name is Javon Wilson. We are coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands, of course, for 284 News. Now, of course, Friday represents the culmination of our news week, but of course that continues into the weekend. But for today, viewers, lots going on. Earlier today, the Baronville Siblings were laid to rest. Definitely quite a sad day for our territory as we put to rest these three beautiful souls, Clive, Haricia, and Jamal Baronville. Now, viewers, the entire service was broadcasted live by our team, 284 Media. So, of course, if you didn't have the opportunity to watch it, you can do so via our page or via CCT BVI's page as well. But again, a very tough day for our territory, and we pray as they continue to rest in peace that their legacy will continue. Our heartfelt prayers are with the family, friends, and colleagues, and of course, the wider community affected by this grave loss.
And viewers turn to news involving the Minister for Culture, where the Minister for Culture, Dr. Natalia Whitley, stands firm in his decision to reject the notion shared by some residents to allow the United Kingdom government to temporarily take over the British Virgin Islands. Well, Dr. Whitley made a comment during the Emancipation Day virtual service on Sunday, August 1st. He urged residents not to be misguided by the ongoing Commission of Inquiry investigations into thinking the territory requires external control to improve good governance in the BVI. Instead, he said emphasis should be placed on the territory working together to further develop the existing institutions while educating the people.
Disillusioned because of what they perceive to be the society's weaknesses, an ill-advised sentiment has crept into conversations. Let Britain take over for a while. My people, I reject this mentality with every fiber of my being. Let us continue the work of developing our institutions and educating our people. Let us use the tools of democracy, including public forums, responsible journalism, public protest, debate, and even elections. But let us not surrender to the archaic and colonial tools that the world should have forgotten about long ago, such as takeovers, imposed legislation, and imposed administrators. Let us never forget where we were prior to 1950, with no proper health care, no proper education, no proper infrastructure. It is the advancement of our democracy and our local autonomy which have led to the gains in our society. And while we are extremely critical, let us not take for granted that we are incredibly blessed and enjoy a standard of living that many people around the world would hope and dream of. As bad as some think we are still attracting people from all over the world who choose to call BVI home. We can't be that bad. Our education system produces individuals who have topped schools abroad and even topped various industries abroad. No, we are not what some paint us to be. In fact, we have done well, and we have a lot to thank God for. Let us never...
Well, Dr. Wheatley, who is also the Deputy Premier, spoke of the unfairness of the UK government calling a COI in the BVI when they themselves deferred a similar COI from occurring in the UK. He said this speaks to the unequal partnership between the two countries.
Purpose. We will triumph over this pandemic and other pitfalls along the way. But unity is the key, and we must not fall victim to the old, tried and tested trick of divide and rule. In addition to disease and natural disasters, we face threats to our ability to determine our destiny. The United Kingdom launched a commission of inquiry at a time when all our efforts should have been focused on saving lives and delivering progress for the people. The reality that the Prime Minister Johnson rejected calls for a commission of inquiry in the United Kingdom while allowing one to be imposed here speaks to the unequal partnership that exists with our administering power. Any society placed under a microscope will have its flaws and weaknesses exposed, especially a society that has suffered great neglect and exploitation by its colonizer over hundreds of years. The United Kingdom, like other societies, is not immune to the alleged deficiencies being scrutinized right here. The Guardian newspaper, a reputable publication from the United Kingdom, published an article titled, "Under Boris Johnson, Corruption is Taking Hold in Britain." The subtitle reads, "Cronyism is rife. Our system of checks and balances is being dismantled, and ordinary people will soon start to suffer." That is just one article, but similar scathing claims can be made of the United States of America, Russia, China, and all throughout the world.
Our viewers, the Deputy Premier's comments follow the ongoing Commission of Inquiry, which is investigating whether corruption, abuse of office, or other serious dishonesty may have taken place amongst public, elected, and statutory officials in recent years. But the COI's investigation has so far revealed a number of discrepancies in both the present and past governments, which has resulted in several criticisms from the BVI public.
Now, viewers, as we move on, we see Cabinet's new decision to extend the 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew to August 20th has once again resulted in major public outcry. Many residents have resorted to social media to express frustrations, while others have openly condemned the government's decision to keep certain businesses closed with no form of financial support. Now, coming from social media, one salon owner said, and I quote, "It was sort of good of an idea when COVID was outside and we didn't have the things in place to deal with the disease at our businesses. Also, there was no vaccine. Now, more than 60 months later, all of these businesses have invested in making sure we meet a standard for operation. Also, because of the nature, the majority of these workers have vaccinated. After all of this work, why are they still defaulting to preliminary measures? Make it make sense." End of quote. Now, viewers, another resident wrote, and I quote, I can try and understand the curfew, but what I can't understand is the logic behind closing some businesses when other businesses harbor more gathering than the ones closed. Somebody please help me understand. End of quote. Now, since the debacle on Facebook, our newsroom has reached out to the Premier of the Virgin Islands and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew Afoy, who stated that the curfew has been a great deterrent to rising cases in the territory. Honorable Foy said, and I quote, "Our territory recently experienced a sudden spike of COVID-19 cases that rose to as high as 1,604 active cases with over 30 COVID-related deaths in a short space of time. These factors caused our health team to recommend some immediate measures to be put in place because without them, the active COVID-positive cases were projected by our epidemiologists to rise to as high as 5,000 active positive cases." End of quote. Now, viewers, as a result of the restrictions announced on July 5th, hair salons, barbershops, gyms, as well as bars and clubs were forced to close. Restaurants with in-house dining are also limited to one person per 36 square feet to a maximum of occupancy of 25 persons. Now, in response to the recent extension, one resident said, and I quote, "Dear government of the Virgin Islands, you have closed people's businesses for even longer and continue to put others in a place they can be open but can't actually earn anything. This is unfair without providing immediate restitution. How do all of these businesses and staff pay their bills? Your ongoing lack of concern is deafening and frankly disgusting. You obviously do not care about these people at all. The thousands of people affected need you to provide solution by the end of the week. A minimum would be to pay both business and employee rent and utilities for the month." Now, when questioned on the economic hardship being faced by those businesses and whether government plans to offer financial support, of course, by our newsroom, Premier Foy said that the government is privy to the issues and consideration is now being given to less stringent measures. Honorable Foy said, and I quote once again, "Like everywhere in the world, these measures, when implemented, cause financial hardship in different areas. However, this matter is fluid and being reviewed daily. Given that the measures implemented have significantly contributed in our active positive cases being significantly reduced, now opens the way for the consideration of the relaxing of some of the measures recently implemented to try and save lives. But by no means should anyone think that we are out of the woods. Such announcements should be forthcoming shortly as government is extremely sensitive to the financial struggle of businesses who are affected by the latest urgent measures implemented to save lives. Discussions are ongoing as to how to assist those businesses that have been closed due to the latest measures." The leader of the territory also reiterated the need for persons to abide by protocols and, of course, get vaccinated. He said, "While vaccination is not mandatory by this government, we strongly recommend that persons be vaccinated as it gives one of the best possible lines of defense to fight the virus." There are other residents in the territory who also spoke out against the recently held motorcade that was organized by the government to celebrate the extraordinary efforts of the BVI's athletes at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Now, taking to social media, another resident said, "I'm all for celebrating our athletes, but I was sure they'd follow their own rules and shut down that motorcade before 7 p.m. How did the people get home when that motorcade ended at 10 p.m.? And are you saying that if I had joined the motorcade, I'd be exempt from the curfew? But businesses can't operate past that time? I'm in awe. I'm glad I don't have a restaurant for that same reason. The unrest and turmoil I feel in my spirit, and I'm not even affected, and I'm not even an affected worker, is surely resonating with everybody in these Virgin Islands." Now, some residents, viewers, as you saw, thought that this was a clear violation of the curfew by the government of the Virgin Islands, and of course, those who participated in the motorcade. Kamal, the conversation continues as it relates to the curfew, the restrictions. Another complaint that we're hearing about comes from the salons, the barbershops, the gyms, and they're basically speaking to the fact that other services, such as the dentistries, such as the dermatologists, are allowed to open under similar protocols. However, salons, barbers, and the gyms, the bars, the clubs, and yes, we're acknowledging that some of them are high risk, but when you examine what's happening, if you really are to zero in on what's happening, a lot of bars are still open. a lot of restaurants are serving alcohol, and that is the truth of the matter, while others are forced to close. And, you know, how do these people survive in this economy?
Yes, indeed. And obviously, the current measures continue to impact, you know, these persons that have families of their own, children to send to school for the upcoming school term, and they are greatly grieved in terms of, you know, where will my next paycheck come. But still ahead, viewers, recipients of the COVID-19 economic stimulus grants asked to complete mandatory stimulus feedback form. This and so much more when 284 News returns.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Well, viewers, welcome back. Recipients of the COVID-19 economic stimulus grants are being requested by the government to complete a mandatory COVID-19 stimulus feedback form. Well, the announcement was made in a media release from the office of the Premier on Thursday, August 6th. Well, recipients include persons and businesses who receive the grants from micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises such as daycares, preschools, private schools, churches, and religious organizations, along with farmers and fisher folks. Well, according to the release, the mandatory feedback form is to assist the government with completing its economic stimulus grant report to ascertain and confirm the impact of the support on the respective ventures. Recipients will be required to submit general information including names, trade license, physical address, district and contact information, amount of grant received, number of employees where applicable, among other things. Additionally, participants are required to list and provide documentation or receipts on how the funds were used, for example, to pay rent, electricity, water and sewage, internet, salaries or severance to employees, the National Health Insurance or Social Security, Inland Revenue, among other things. Well, commenting on the initiative was Premier and Minister of Finance Andrew Foy, who said, and I quote, "The government is pleased to have provided assistance to residents and businesses in need as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, as we continue to manage the fiscal affairs of the territory in a transparent and accountable manner, we are asking stimulus recipients to complete a feedback form to advise on how the stimulus received was impacted and how it has impacted businesses and organizations." End quote. With a form for the respective stimulus grant category are located on the Government of the Virgin Islands website at http://eservices.gov.vg/feedback/.com. Sorry, just dot. But the forms can be submitted electronically by clicking the submit button. The deadline to complete the form is Friday, August 20th. And for assistance with completing the form, persons are asked to contact the Premier's office at 468-2152.
Viewers, as we move on and of course zero in on the hurricane season, we see the Department of Disaster Management, the acting director, Mr. Jason Penn, is now urging all Virgin Islands residents to complete their seasonal preparedness activities as the region moves into the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, with two potential systems brewing in the Atlantic basin. Mr. Penn said that while there has been no named storms in the Atlantic since Hurricane Elsa dissipated in early July, August marks the transition into the busiest portion of the season. Mr. Penn said, and I quote, "This is the time of the season when the sea surface temperatures are very warm and we are more likely to see systems develop into named storms and even hurricanes. Everyone throughout the region should be monitoring conditions closely and, of course, carrying out their daily preparations for the season," Mr. Penn said. The acting director is also urging residents to get prepared by implementing specific measures such as downloading the DDM app to receive weather and emergency alerts, identifying a safe space in the home to shelter in place, and of course ensuring that the family has a well-stocked emergency supply kit that includes items like face masks and sanitizer to help protect against COVID-19. Property owners were also further encouraged to take steps to ensure that the property is well prepared for wind and rain by inspecting the roofs, windows, shutters, downspouts, and cistern overflows, as well as properties should be inspected to ensure that trees are trimmed and bulky waste is appropriately disposed of. Now, with the low level of activity in July, that has led to a slight downgrade in overall predicted storm activity for the season. 2021, however, is still anticipated to be an above-average hurricane season, according to the August 5th forecast report from the Colorado State University Tropical Project. The August forecast anticipates 17 named storms compared to the average 14. The forecast further calls for the formation of 8 hurricanes, including 4 major hurricanes compared to the average 7 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes. Forecasters cited several factors as contributors to elevated storm activity, including above average sea surface temperatures in the subtropical Atlantic, paired little to no storm inhibiting earlier this year. Persons are encouraged again to visit the DDM page. The website is www.bviddm.com for resources like emergency plan templates, a hurricane tracking map, emergency kit checklist, as well as information about tropical storms and other hazards. Viewers, we cannot remind you enough. Preparedness is essential in this season. Another thing to note is the importance of checking in with your insurance companies as well to ensure that everything is in order as we approach an above average hurricane season.
Well, viewers, up next, McMaster confident of breaking the world record in the men's 400-meter hurdle event in the future. And unfortunate news in St. Vincent, where their prime minister was injured during an anti-government protest. And in Jamaica, great news as the women takes gold in the 4x100-meter relay race. This and much more after a word from our sponsors.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Welcome back, viewers. BVI Olympian athlete Kyron McMaster believes he has what it takes to break the world record in the men's 400-meter hurdle event. McMaster recently set a new national record in the aforementioned event, where he competed in the finals at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan this week. Well, he ran a time of 47.08 seconds in what is now labeled as the fastest ever men's 400-meter hurdles event, which was won by Norway's Karsten Warholm, who broke his own world record to become the first athlete of that event to finish with a sub-46 second time, shaving the previous world record from 46.70 to now 45.94 seconds. While speaking during a recent Olympic media conference, McMaster said he now has the vision to successfully achieve world record-breaking times.
I ran 47.08. I remember, I think it was in 2019 or 2018 when Benjamin ran 47.08 when he was coming out at NCAA. That time was mind-blowing at that moment, you know. And the way the world reacted, it was crazy. So in my head, for me, even though my time is under shine because of the 45 and 46, that's how I'm reacting in my head. You understand? But I always knew my capabilities. Even before them, I always knew that I have what it takes to break the world record. And I just didn't know what it takes. But now I'm seeing the sight of what it would take to get to that world record. And not just the 46.7, but the 45.9. I know the obstacles ahead. I know the hurdles I have to clear. I'm seeing what I need to do and how I need to do it. So again, like, it's just to, whatever is in here is to put it out there and be disciplined. And that's the best I could get at that point.
McMaster also said despite being a professional athlete for the last 3 to 4 years, his career begins now.
At that point, moving forward is just to be disciplined and be determined to be consistently disciplined. I just can't be disciplined tomorrow or in September. I have to be disciplined September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. We competed in August? Yes. August. I'll probably take 2 weeks out just to detox and then back to discipline, you know? And that's just the life that we live and that's the life that we sign up for. So I have a long road ahead of me with being disciplined and just being focused. And I'm ready. I just ready at this point. Like, take me to the chambers. Let's handle business. Let's start business. Like, I know I've been a professional athlete for what, 4 years now, but my career starts now, to be honest. That was child's play. This is hard work now.
Meanwhile, the BVI's Olympians McMaster, Chantal Malone, and Elena Phillip all indicated that they would not be returning to the territory immediately after the Olympics, as they have a number of upcoming competitions to attend to.
I think after that, one of my competitions is the Brussels Diamond League. Not sure if that's cemented as yet. Probably not. But after that, it would probably be the Diamond League finals in Zurich. Yeah, I think those would be my next 2 competitions: God, spell, health, and strength. For Elena, I think Elena have a swimming competition next week, but we have to discuss that. It's not cemented as yet. Share shots there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting to see what the plan is moving forward, but hopefully finishing up with the Diamond Leagues and then we go.
Elena? Yeah, I'm going into the collegiate season from August, so those will be the focuses for me. But then I also have to think about World Short Course, which will be in December, and potentially Pan Am Juniors, which is at the end of November.
Well, viewers, we here at 284 Media would like to wish all our athletes all the best in their upcoming events.
Our viewers, and right before we close out, sad news in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in what can be described as the biggest protest the country has seen in years. Hundreds of Vincentians took to the streets yesterday to protest legislation that the government said would allow for vaccination of the public sector workers considered to be frontline workers, that is mandatory vaccination. Of course, that erupted in a very violent protest that saw the Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, being injured in the process as he attempted to enter the House of Assembly. We know that a woman has since been arrested and now wants to apologize to the Prime Minister, but I doubt that is going to go down that easily. As we pan across as well to Jamaica, of course, the Olympics is over for the BVI, but certainly not for the rest of the region. The women of Jamaica won the gold medal, of course, for the 4x100 meter relay. Am I saying that correctly? So we want to congratulate those ladies, of course, always dominating. I think the region doing so well, of course, all of our regional athletes. So we just want to congratulate them. And viewers, if you want to know more about that St. Vincent and Grenadines story, you can head to our page. Lots of information also available via our website. But for now, that is all the time we have. We want to thank you so much for rocking with us throughout the news week. And of course, encourage you to enjoy a great weekend and join us over the weekend via our website, 284media.com, for more news. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Kamal Haynes, and thank you for joining us.